are critical of the government of Israel. Do you believe in Israel's right to exist? Would you consider yourself a Zionist in that narrow definition?
What does that mean, a right to?
What does that mean? You watch her bounce around here like Tucker has to really pin her down, because this is what they do. They're trained to speak this way. They try to just sort of slip things in, and get you to concede, yes, this little thing, but what they don't tell you is the real meaning of what they're trying to get you to concede. Like, watch how he has to really push back. It's ridiculous. But it's funny to watch, and I'm glad he does it. But check it out.
To exist.
The existence of the political state of Israel as
but
it
has
existed,
a right. What does that mean?
But you think it should continue in its existence as a state right now. So you do not agree with Iran, for example.
Well, let me just ask, since you asked me the question, it's fair for me to get you to define the term so I can answer it. You've asked two questions. The first was, do you believe Israel has a right to exist? And the second question was, do you believe Israel should continue to go on as a nation state? And those are very different questions. So I often hear the phrase...
Having been created as a political entity in 1948...
Does it have a right to exist? Is that what you're asking?
I don't want to get hung up on the right.
No.
Should it continue
not.
to exist?
You see? Should it continue to exist? Well, that's very different than does it have the right to exist? Right? People have the right to exist, I think, right? And if, it has to be applied to everyone equally. You can't say Israel has the right to exist, the right given from who? And then, with this war, the first thing they did was go into southern Lebanon and just occupy another country's area. Does Lebanon have a right to exist? I'm pretty sure Iran has a right to exist, since Persia has been around for almost 3,000 years. But having a right to exist, and should it exist in its current state? Well, that's very different. And what is its current state? Because it seems like it's trying to expand all over the place. So, yeah, that's, this is the kind of stuff that is two different questions, right? Frustrating to listen to.
That's how I define narrowly Zionism.
Because the phrase you used was devised by the Israeli government. Of course, does it have a right to exist? And so my question to you would be, what does that mean?
Why don't you answer my question? It's a very simple question.
I don't know what your question is.
Oh, it's a very simple question. It's so simple, that's why we have to spend 3 minutes talking about what the fuck your question actually is. Because you keep changing the moving the goalposts and changing the definition of what your question is.
Are you asking, does it have a right to exist, or do I want it to exist? Do I seek its destruction?
Fine, answer it that way.
Well, of course I don't seek its destruction. I've already said, as you know, because I said it to you, I don't want Israel to be destroyed or have to use nuclear weapons.
See how she tries to pigeonhole? She's trying so hard to get him to say he's a Zionist. Oh, you don't want Israel to be destroyed, therefore you're a Zionist. No. Hard no.
We've established that you are, in that narrow terms, a Zionist. If that's how
I'm
we're
in
going to
no
define
sense a Zionist. I don't want any country to be destroyed, at all, and I don't want people to die, particularly ones who committed no crime, because I don't believe in killing innocents, period. That's the basis of Western civilization.
And that's the difference, because we don't believe in killing innocent people. We don't believe in, the sins of the father are therefore the sins of the son. You don't demonize a whole people, women, children, oh, well, Hamas comes from Iran, therefore 94 million people are the IRGC? Are you kidding me? But that's the major difference, is we're not going to go, we don't believe in killing innocent people. And evidently, Israel's just fine with that, right? Just fine with it. It's disgusting.
Eastern civilization is a whole different view. They believe in collective punishment. I don't.
So you're in no sense a Zionist?
I don't even know what that means. Why don't you define the term, and then I'll tell you whether I am.
I've just defined it.
What's
you
a Zionist?
said that a Zionist, in my narrow term, this definition is that the state of Israel, the political state of Israel, has the right to continue existing.
The right? Where does that right come from? What do you mean? These are I'm not being a lawyer about it. I just want to know what you're asking me.
You answer the question.
Because I don't know what you're asking me.
Let's go to the
Wait,
third.
no. I think
Let's go to the third.
You don't want to define your question, and I don't know why.
I know why. Because they don't want to be pinned down. Because as soon as you dig into the weeds on it, you realize that their right to exist tramples over other people's rights to exist. And the best saying that I like that Tucker says coming up here is rights that aren't exclusive to everyone or don't apply equally to everyone are not rights. They're preferences. Israel's preferences.
I don't know what you're asking me. I've already said I don't want Israel to be destroyed. I don't want anyone to be killed. And you've said, does Israel have a right to exist? Does it have my question is, what right are you talking about? Does Britain have a right to exist? Does the United States have a right to exist?
There was a world order built up after 1945 which suggested that aggression should not be condoned into countries. That the countries with borders have the right to intervene.
I totally agree with that.
Okay.
Which is why the first thing that Israel did within 2 weeks of this war starting, which is supposedly existential for them, was take southern Lebanon.
Did you know that? I didn't know that until weeks later. We're just going to occupy southern Lebanon. If you're not familiar with the Greater Israel Project and the land that encompasses, you need to look into it because it's a chunk of everywhere. It's massive. It is a much larger area than Israel is currently occupying. And the only way to make that come true is to take other people's land. So do they not have the right to exist? All these countries that aren't with Hamas, that aren't Iranian? I mean, even if you want to, and I don't agree with Iran being painted with the same brush as the IRGC or Hamas or whatever, no, I don't agree with that. But let's pigeonhole that and say that's okay. And now what about the other countries? Do they not have a right to exist? It's insanity.
Take someone else's country, as they have done repeatedly. And no one even mentions that. And so I guess I would be opposed to that because I think Lebanon has a right to exist. I thought Gaza had a right to exist. But I noticed that as soon as we start apportioning rights, only one country gets them.
No, I did not say that. You're absolutely putting words into my mouth.
I believe, here's what I do believe, since you asked. I believe in universally applicable standards. And if they're not universally applicable, they're not standards, they're preferences. That's why I believe in human rights, not ethnic rights. I don't think Jews have more rights or less rights than anyone else. I don't think Christians have more rights or less rights. Blacks, Filipinos. I believe in human rights that derive from the creation of people by God.